out of the airport and started hearing shouting.
Money can make you happy if you are at peace.
Anytime I see your dad or your mom, I always relate to the fact that God is faithful.
A male child is growing up, and exactly what your parents said you shouldn't do, that's what you want to do. Life will happen, things will happen, and you need to make decisions. My dad served in the military. He had this tough way of handling the children.
Because even with all the protection, it means that we have failed in there.
I love outdoor. They wanted a little of outdoor of indoor because they thought we were living in the barracks. You can easily be influenced. And bad gang has not been that way. It's a lot of struggle, like we're in the village. To meet your parents at the farm. Growing up, I was that naughty for being ice water. When you go to the farm to eat, it was hawking bread for our mom.
I literally saw your dad. He was almost crying. It's Sunday Olorunsheyi. Are you mad?
I've always been mad.
Are you a ritualist?
Yes, I'm a ritualist.
Wow, welcome to 10X Interactions. And I'm having today, being our first episode, I'm having no other than my very own brother, business partner, and friend, Dr. Sunday Olorunsheyi. We're going to be discussing quite a number of things in the area of how did he 10X his life, but much more interacting deep into his personal life and things that you guys don't know about him. So please help me welcome Dr. Sunday Olorunsheyi.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here.
Yeah.
Because it's a familiar environment, we know each other. I know you, you know me. We know each other much, much, much more than what people can ever relate. And I just want to welcome you. This is our first episode of the 10S Interactions. And it is very, very delighting that you are the first guest that we are having. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. And I also count it a privilege to be the first guest. And I hope that I will not perform too woefully so that when other guests are coming
you are
behind.
Professional. You are professional. You have been doing this from your mother's womb. When they ask people that when did you start acting or when did you start singing, they say from their mother's womb. All right, in starting, we'd like to know who is Sunday Olorunsheyi. I know they popularly call you SO, So who is Sunday Olorunsheyi? We'd like to get to meet you.
All right, thank you so much once again for having me here. I look forward to this podcast becoming a global one. Yes. Where we'll host people across different continents of the world. And we'll have millions of people glued onto it per time when it's showing. And even later, billions, because I know the brand Wise Man is a powerful brand. And I'm proud and happy to be associated with your brand.
Thank you very much.
All right, so Sunday Olorunsheyi, I'm a serial entrepreneur. And all my life, I've had the privilege of growing and developing myself for business, for leadership, for entrepreneurship. I hail from Kogi State. Kogi State is a unique state in Nigeria because not many people know too much about the diversity that we have in that state, right? When people hear my name, of course, they know I'm Yoruba, but when I say I'm from Kogi, they wonder, Kogi, Yoruba, how does it go together? But in Kogi State, we have Yorubas, we have the Ibiras, and we have the Galas, and like that. So I'm from the Yoruba-speaking part of Kogi. They call us Okun. And the Okun people, they're in Kogi, they're in part of Ekiti, Ondo, and maybe Kwara.
How did they get to spread that much? As in, when you have a particular tribe or a particular ethnic group that is found in different locations.
Yeah, all thanks to our leaders that, the way they design our map, and from time to time they keep creating states, and the more they create these states, politically, people get positioned, and
so somebody who is from Okun, and Okun is like a particular geographical place.
Okay.
But by the time they create states, part of them,
you know,
is
falls here
falls
and
into-
like that.
okay,
So,
okay,
and that's how we find ourselves in Kogi. My growing up, I would say, even though I'm from Kogi State, I'll call myself a Lagos boy or a city boy, you know.
City boy. City boy association.
Exactly. I had my primary education in Lagos, secondary education in Lagos, university education in Lagos. So my first
What you
sojourn,
just said now reminded me when I was to build my first house, and I was considering a particular place.
Okay.
And by the time I mentioned it to my wife said, never.
Never.
I said, why? He said, that was where she had her primary school,
Oh my
where
God.
she had her secondary school.
Oh my God.
Where I said, is it, you will not build house then? No, never. You know.
Yeah, so for me, that's been the experience. My first sojourn outside of Lagos was when I went for my youth service, NYC, and that was in Kano State. It gave me opportunity to see what the northern part of Nigeria feels like, and it was an interesting one. And back in Lagos after NYC, and
Because you're a Lagos boy, you always come back.
you know,
There's something about people who grew up in Lagos and get to connect so well with Lagos. They don't like to leave Lagos. I remember a few years ago we were in the UK, and there was this our customer of ours that she said that when she had lived a long time in the UK, and that when she came to Nigeria to Lagos,
right?
And she was like, when she saw that everywhere was quiet, she's like, am I in Lagos
This
or
is
somewhere?
not Lagos.
This is not Lagos. So, but immediately she came out of the bus, came out of the airport, and started hearing shouting. You know, say, this
I'm
is
home.
Lagos, I'm home. So one way or the other, people who are connected to Lagos always find themselves coming back to Lagos. I've told people, I said, I can't really see myself really living outside Lagos, especially if I'm in Nigeria. If I'm outside the country, maybe, but in Nigeria, Lagos is my
happening
base.
place.
So having come back to Lagos, and I know that recently we also had a book that we wrote that has to do with Lagos, the real money of Lagos. How has Lagos treated you?
It comes with
the way you took the question, like
it's a little of mixed feeling because today we might have some success story to share, but at the same time, the journey has not been that rosy, right? If you will permit me to go back memory lane a little, I would say I wasn't born with a silver spoon. You know, some people, they say they were born with silver, some gold, some maybe wooden spoon. Maybe some of us, we were born without a spoon.
Because when people say that thing, I say, okay, me, I don't think there was spoon.
Yeah,
it was hand they used to put the pap.
So, and if you look at that, and you were born in Lagos, and not that your parents were that economically empowered, what that simply means is that there will be a lot of struggle, growing up from childhood to your teenage, where you just have to do all you can do to support your parents. You know, if I tell people that we lived and grew up in Lagos, and it was more like we're in the village at some point, because we had farm, right? And you go to school and return back from school, and you will have to undress your uniform, put on a dress fit for farm, then you go to the farm to eat. You know, there's nothing like you're meeting food at home. You have to meet your parents at the farm. That's where you're going to take your lunch, and you'll be there till evening, support them with work. And this was subsistence farming, not like we were doing farming to sell. It was farming
to survive.
To survive in this same Lagos. And you know, when you asked about how Lagos has been, there was an emotional one for me, where, because that farm then was close to the Muritala Mohammed Airport there, and we had so many people farming around there, and all of a sudden one day I think the authority of FAN, the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria just came and said they wouldn't want people to farm around there anymore. And they brought their, I think, bulldozer and cleared all the crops.
Wow.
So imagine a family that was living and surviving on that. So what happens next? And thank God for my parents enterprising, committed to the children. They can go any length legitimately to ensure that we're fine, we go to school, and like that. So my mom, I remember then, had to resort to selling ice water. Not pure water. There's difference between pure water
I think
and
I can relate
water.
to that because in my life, I sold ice water.
Yeah.
The one that they will put inside the buckets. Then for some of them, they use a cup.
Yeah.
To sell
As
it.
at that
For some
time,
of them, they use nylon.
Yeah, it has advanced to
Nylon.
nylon, and we had a school close to our house then. And of course, they won't allow the kids go outside of the school. So she will have to sit by the gate to pass the water under the gate. So the kids will give the money through under the gate. She will also pass the water. And we weren't ashamed to support our parents at that point. We're reliving an experience recently. My elder sister had her 50th birthday. So I was with them where they lodged. And the kids were like, wow, your growing up must have been very interesting. And I saw the way my elder sister was unashamedly, permit me to use that English, telling our kids that she was hawking bread for our mom when we were much younger. So these were things they did just to ensure that we're okay. But as kids, the little we could do to support them, we were proud of our parents. We weren't one of those kids that will say our parents and we want to let our friends know that that's my dad, that's my mom. We always point to them, regardless of what they did at that point, because we knew they did all of this for the love of the children.
They paid sacrifices.
A lot of
Sacrifices. Things that they would not have done normally.
Exactly.
They had to do it because of the children.
And I tell people, if today they are reaping the reward, nobody should envy them. About 6 years ago, one of the things I did for them was to build a house. Even though as at then they already built their own house they were living, but I felt they needed to live in a location that is more befitting and in a bigger house.
Even the house you said they built, I knew what you did in the house.
Yeah, supporting while they were building it.
Before they eventually built the house for them.
Now built this, and it was a big surprise for them because they never knew I was building anything from foundation till when it was completed.
To furnishing.
To furnishing, to the teeth, full furnishing. And I just invited them that day that I just bought a land. I wanted them to come and pray on the land before we start building. And only for them to get there. Of course, they met the house. You were not
even in the country.
I wasn't in the country,
yes. Video.
So exactly, I was on a video call. And when they got there, they saw a house. And to them, it was a surprise. So this guy built another house. He didn't tell us. They weren't thinking it was their own house. So I saw them praying passionately, both my dad and my mom, blessing the house for me. I allowed them finish the prayer. And when they were done praying, I said, Dad, Mom, that's your house. You know?
The emotion.
Exactly.
Because I literally saw your dad, he was almost crying.
Yeah.
As in that this is, because your dad is my dad.
Exactly.
Anytime we get to meet, we have a lot of discussions. There are a number of adages that I repeat every time that I learned from your dad. Maybe in the course of our conversation, if I remember, we'll talk about them. Yeah. So I can remember those emotions, True. The way he felt that, wow, and up till now, anytime I see your dad or your mom, they always relate to the fact that God is faithful.
Yeah. So the question about the Lagos story, you can see how it's with some. They were very low part of it, and in this same Lagos, we were able to grow and enjoyed the blessings of God.
Okay, we'll come back to this Lagos story really, because it's going to form much of what we are going to discuss because most of your life has been lived in Lagos. All right. I wanted to ask: Are you a foodie? You like food? I'm asking because I know, but our audience don't know. So I need to let them know.
I wouldn't say I'm one because, foodies they pay particular attention. For me, I'm just that person that I eat because I need
to survive.
to eat to be alive. And I'm not that selective when it comes to, I don't have preference.
You don't have favorite food?
What I used to call favorite food, for example, I don't think I've ate it this year. If something is your favorite
You
food,
should eat it very often.
and I used to say pounded yam and egusi was my favorite food. But now, I don't even like eating egusi soup again. You see how that, right now, I can't say I have a favorite food.
Wow.
I just
because
eat
I was
to
going
be
to
alive.
ask you whether you like party jollof or homemade jollof.
Interestingly, before I came on this podcast, it was homemade jollof that and I loved it. I loved it. But, what I love about this party jollof is that if you have it at home, even after 3 days, 4 days,
It's very... I like the aroma.
There's a way it still tastes after you microwave it, you eat again. So
there's one fascinating thing that I keep thinking about, and that's how that the way people behave in parties. Even people that can afford the entire party food.
There is the spirit of the party.
Where's my food? Give my food. And you're wondering, what is my, you can afford this food.
I tell people, no matter how much you spend on your party, if you don't take care of the food part, the party is not sweet. People might not see the color of your shoe as the host of the party. Some people are that meticulous, they want to see everything. But if they don't eat, they will remember. But that shoe, they might not even see. All the branding, they will talk about it for 2 or 3 days, and that will be it. But you see that food? If they don't eat in your party,
you guys pay so much attention to the 50th birthday of your
exactly.
We ate and ate, we were fed and we were fed up.
I had to advise them that, see, when I saw the budget of what they were doing, I said, guys, I love all of these other paparazzis, but seafood, don't joke. They had 3 vendors. They said they wanted to drop one. I said, no, leave the 3 food vendors. Let them all be there. Food is very important, especially party food.
All right, let's get down to your early life. All right. Maybe in secondary school, maybe it's in primary school, I don't know. Did you have conquests? Like what?
Did I explore?
What was your first exploration when it comes to anything relationship? Like, did you have a secondary school girlfriend? Did you have any heartbreak? Did you break anybody's heart?
Okay, for me, growing up, I was that naughty boy. Yeah. When I say naughty, let me write it down. Per se, but a bit naughty. You know how a male child is growing up, and exactly what your parents said you shouldn't do. That's what you want to do. That was the growing up experience.
But before you go deep down, don't you think that has a little of advantage?
Yeah.
Because I ask some parents that if everything you tell your children to do is what they do, don't you think you have given birth to a robot?
Because growing up also, you now realize that having a mind of your own has a way of strengthening your approach to life. Because life will happen, things will happen, and you need to make decisions. At times, those decisions have to be spontaneous. So if you don't have a mind of your own, it will be difficult. I think what parents need to learn is how to guide, that trait in the kids. So
I watched a movie recently, and this particular girl, the parents had an agreement that she should not interact. So they kept more like protecting her, guiding her against different things. You can't bring a boy in, you can't do this. Only for her, I think she had an accident, and while they were trying to operate on her, they discovered she was pregnant, and she was just 14. One of the things the mother told her on the bed was, you know what, that I am going to do away with all the protection, because even with all the protection, we failed. that if with all this protection, removing gadgets, doing all
Doing all
sorts,
of
you
that.
still
Yeah.
got pregnant in our very nose, it means that we have failed in parenting.
Yeah. So that brings me back to that being naughty. You know, my dad served in the military, you know, and as a military man, he had this tough way of handling the children. Hardly at home, but when he's at home, you know that the lion of the tribe of the home it's around. My mom also, you know, the way they were raised, this very tough way of managing kids. So when you now have a son that is behaving naughty, you know that son will be like, this one want to frustrate all of our effort. And I love outdoor. They wanted a little of outdoor, more of indoor, because they felt we're living in the barracks. You can easily be influenced by, you know, bad gangs here and there. And when I see people think they have gangs outside now today, but in the barracks it has always been, people just assume that children of people in the barracks, they hardly do well, you know, because there's this kind of freedom that they have. So our parents, they were trying to guide us from things like that. But my eyes, they're outside. My eyes was always outside. I want to play football. I want to be with my friends and like that. So that was the first major challenge I had with my parents. The question will always be, what are you looking for outside? What are you going to look for? Like that, I started. And if you are that outgoing person, you see all manner of things, you do all manner of things, you want to try, you know, different things. But somehow, because God got your back and somehow has plans for your life, there's a way He will guide you through all of those processes, which happened to be my own, I'll call it testimony today, because I would have gone very, very wide and extreme. And I can tell, you know why? Some of the people we grew up together, I can see where they are right now. I know one or two of them that was killed during armed robbery. So that's to let you know the chances. So there was this chance of becoming an armed robber. You know, I know some of them that today, anyway, there's no job anybody does that is not dignified. So let me not mention what they're doing. But ordinarily, if at some point I did not,
with what you do now,
you'll be like, oh, see. So it was a naughty one. That's been from primary school, right? Getting into secondary school, that was when it was meant to become worse, and the issue of maybe outbreak or no outbreak. I never had one. Somehow.
So your heart is very strong.
I know it's not glass cup, it's not tumbler, so it can't break. To start with, I wasn't that person that was going after girls. I was very exposed early enough. I had this grace of being able to put, you know, some kind
boundaries.
No. What I'm even talking about now is when you need the right bars to talk to girls. You get what I'm saying now? I was able to put all of that together. So guys who always hang around me, I had the privilege of being a little more intelligent than the kids I grew up with. So they looked up to me, even when I had no girlfriends, right? At some point, of course, we did explore and girlfriend, but it was all the normal childish way. And that's why I'm grateful to God, because this generation, what they do now at their age will not even cross our own mind when we were growing up. We just wanted to be friends with girls. We wanted to be proud. You know, that pride of that girl is like,
my girlfriend.
Those were the exploits we had then.
Wow. So, now, at what point did you become self-aware? Because, you know, everybody needs to come to that point where you become self-aware and you become purposeful, all right? And I think one of the good things that happened to us, and I want to take the clue from yourself and myself, is that we found out a bit early, all right? And I think people want to know, at what point did you become self-aware that you know that I am going somewhere and I must be very conscious about the things I do in order not to fall into the wrong hands?
Yeah, for me, it was a clear one. No missing word. Precisely 1995, you know. for me, that was the turning point year. Because, like I said, growing up, I was a bit naughty, outgoing, stubborn, and all the likes. But I have my elder sister that has always been that good girl from childhood, obedient to the core. If there's today, if they are looking for obedience, she should be very obedient, to the core and like that. And she was very worried for me, because she felt I was going very well. So she kept praying for me, following up. Most of the things I do out there that my parents might not even be aware, she will be the one to tell them that, see, your son is already doing this, is doing that, and like that. So she kept praying for me, no doubt about it. And precisely 1995, permit me to say, that was when I had a conversion. I decided to live my life for Christ. I became born again, and that was the turning point. And because I didn't just become born again, I found myself in an environment where you had many young people like myself, the church I attended then, that were, more like passionate for God. They wanted to do the things of God. They wanted to live their life well. So that environment impacted me positively, because it had exposed me to start looking out for what's my purpose, why am I alive, what problems am I born to solve, how do I want to impact my community, my world, and like that. And the journey began from there, and we're grateful to God to where we are now.
Okay, one of that dimension that I want us to dive into.
Okay.
Having gotten to the point where you became self-aware, what were those things that you started doing? I know that I've seen a number of pictures of some of the early days, some of the programs that you had where you invited some very heavy names today, that even at those early days, they were already heavy names, but you were able to invite them. So I want to know some of those activities that you did, even as a teenager, that you can trace back to say has contributed to the success factor that you have had today.
Yeah, I think practically I can narrow it down to the yearning for knowledge, information. It's been said that information is what leads to transformation. So the more you know, the better you grow in life. And at that point, what was key for me was searching. It's more like something is missing, and you need to find that thing. Maybe it's a key that you require to open the door into the places you need to get to in life. And for all of these keys, they are hidden in different parts. And for you to find them, you need the right information as to where these keys are. For me, I dedicated myself early to, gathering information, building capacity. In for every life, it's always in stages. There's a stage they call the learning stage. If you don't invest into the learning stage, when you get to the stage where you are supposed to earn, that is called the earning stage, there is no way you'll be able to earn big like you will always want to earn. So the more you invest in the learning stage, the better the earning stage is for you. So for me, I gave myself solely to gathering information. And from time to time, I read books, a lot of books. I attended events.
Books were a major part of your life.
Major part of my life.
I've come to realize that a lot of people who are successful today, when you trace at the foundation of their lives, you always find books.
Yeah.
Dedication to books.
Yeah.
And I wonder why the generation that we are now are not very keen about books. Maybe they are keen about something else that maybe will become successful in the future. But I know that one of the major things you will find in the foundation of any successful person is books.
Yeah, because books gives you depth. Now, most of the young lads we have in our generation, it gives depth. It gives depth. Most of them are not rooted. You have so many ways where you can make it fast in this generation and in this season. But the challenge is the way people make it fast, they also fall fast. So, but for those that were rooted, have knowledge, they know how to go, they got to where they got to. So even if you take everything from them, they know what to do to recreate it. So that's the importance of investing in knowledge. Most of the time I tell people the wealthiest place in my life is my library. Yeah, because the resource that I have there, the value I place on those resources is way higher than electronics, or higher than cars, than houses, because I know all those other ones I can lose them. You see, books, so long those information are inside of me and I keep, acquiring more, ingesting more, those information will replace everything and anything that I lose.
I was asking one of my young guys recently. I said, why don't you read? And I've never seen you carry any book. Whether it's the only book I see you carry is your academic books. And he just recently graduated, and I know that he might just even abandon all those things. Why don't you read? And he said something. He said, reading books is not his thing. And I said, no. You must develop interest in it. And I was listening to a particular man analyzing something one time, and he said that the reason why we must read, is that there is an aspect of your brain that is developed when you read.
True.
That even if you are listening, you won't develop it.
True.
That there is the extent of processing when you read is more than the extent of watching. When you're watching, it's like a lazy kind of busy way, But when you read, your analytical ability,
you'll be formed. Yeah, they say if you are not informed, you'll be deformed. So it's information that forms you. They say if you are not updated, you'll be outdated. So it takes reading for you to be updated. And one of our mentors, we say, if you are not in the know, you can't be in the flow. So that's the power of developing the mind through reading. I did a lot of that. And just like I said earlier also, I attended events and I connected with mentors, because there's nothing you want to achieve someone has not achieved before. So it's always good for you to ask yourself about your destination. If you see anybody going in that direction, follow them. If your destination looks like where that person has been to before, then you want to follow the person. They say, follow person, we know road. So for me, I was very keen about identifying people that have achieved the kind of success I want to achieve in life, or that have been to the places I would like to get to in life. And I followed them passionately. So these 3 steps, reading, attending of events, and following mentors, formed the foundation of everything that I did.
You were also organizing events.
Yeah. A lot of events. And those events were inspired by the events that I attended. I'll take it back to my growing up days, the community of friends that I have and the environment. Those events were as a result of trying to reach out to more people. So I remembered in the 95, 96, all the way to year 2000, back to back, we're organizing events for teenagers, gathering them in their hundreds. At some point, we hit the 1,000 marks. We hosted people as teenagers. Then Dr. Sam Adeyemi, Dr. Olumide Emmanuel, all of these big people where I hosted them as far back as 1996, 97, 98. And some of those events, we even took them out of Lagos. We had campaigns, 3 days, 4 days. When we hosted in Lagos, we used Chrisland School then.
Wow.
They have this hostel facility with all. Interestingly, we even got people to pay them. So parents will pay and release their kids to us. We were teenagers then, but they released their kids.
They are entrusting their children to
that's the level.
Because you have shown a very high level of responsibility.
Exactly.
They could entrust their children to you because you have shown that. When I saw the poster. Was it poster or the flyer of one of those events that you had with Reverend Sam Ade?
That was 1998. Success Conference.
I said, wow. I was looking at Reverend, I was looking at you.
Yeah, I can remember what we discussed then was destined for success.
Because Reverend Sam is known for success power.
Yeah,
and
success
all of that,
power, the life.
And I was looking at your suit.
Oh my God. Did you say suit? No, stop that. That's an error. You didn't even start by saying coat.
Or combination of
coat, suit, and blazer. Coat, suit, blazer.
Wow. But those things built foundation. Helped you to have roots. Today,
definitely.
Nobody can dissuade you or talk you out of the principles that you have developed over the years. Talking about principles, what were those principles that you developed early in life that right now, looking back, you can say, thank God I did?
For me, primarily it starts with learning to love people the way I would want to be loved.
That I can relate to.
Yeah.
Because I've experienced it.
Thank you very much. So that came to me early enough. And at times when you choose that principle, it makes you look even stupid at times. But the blessings that comes with it is way more than what you lose by treating people nice. I came from, like I said earlier about my home, it wasn't like we had all the resources, but I could feel love in the family. You can tell that the parents, we had loved us, and it was easy for me to give the love out. So loving people the way I would want to be loved, for me, was a major principle. Then I'll talk about living a life of credibility. It's good for people to be able to say the same thing about you, regardless of what stage of life you met them. So it's been said that before you can say someone is a person of integrity, you can vouch that I have a certificate that I'm a person of integrity. It takes a span of between 10 to 15 years. And what it means is that maybe you went to secondary school and you met some friends during your secondary school, then you graduated. By the time you went to university, you met new set of friends, you graduated, then you started working, you met new set of friends. So let's say the secondary school is 5 years, the university is 5 years, and the next 5 years is your working age. Now, you attended a function, maybe at the 20th year later, and the people you met someone from your secondary school, someone from your university, and a colleague that you are working together. And they all started talking about you, and they are saying the same thing about your integrity. Then you have passed the integrity test, because everybody keeps saying, oh, this guy, I've always known him, he has been like this. So I learned that early enough that, you have to be someone that people can trust. And that's, principle I brought into even business. And that's why it was easy for yourself and myself to be able to partner in business. I know we'll still talk about our business and like that, but, real, we always identify real. So our virtues align, our values system align, and it was very easy, because if I would do anything with anybody, that would be the first thing I want to look out for. How credible is this person? How trustworthy was the integrity gauge that they have? So for me, that principle is a no-brainer. I take it very seriously. So it's difficult to have people around me that lacks it, because they will not be able to survive. And for me, that's the hallmark. Of course, I don't joke with hard work. I know we're in the age where people talk about smart work. But the real smart work is hard work. Because you see this brain, the brain sweats too. Yeah. The real smart work comes from the brain. And the rigor that the brain goes through to come up with things that will generate success for you is not always cheap. So if you are lazy in your mind, you can't be successful. That's the fact of life. You cannot be successful.
So if you are lazy in your mind,
you can't be successful.
But you are hardworking in your hands,
you can't be successful.
You can only survive.
You can survive, but you can't be successful. You can't be successful.
So a wise person should invest more in
the mind. Yeah.
Now, talking about integrity, and I just want to also bring this out. Talking about integrity, do you womanize?
You see the way I laughed when the question was asked. I remember, you know why I laughed? There is this mutual friend we have that also works with us in the business. So he observed that we travel a lot. Today, he calls us chairman.
Yeah.
He said, we're in the UK today, tomorrow we have gone to France, next Dubai, America, Qatar. So he sees us traveling everywhere. And one of those times he came to us and said, he would love to also have the exposure of traveling. So the first thing we did was we arranged for him to go to Dubai. So we went to Dubai together. But maybe because that Dubai, he wasn't the only one we took to Dubai. There were many people. He did not provide his feedback. So there was a time we were going to London and we arranged for him, got visa for him, and he went to London with us. So that particular trip, it was just, I remember you were there, just both of us and him. And we stayed in the same hotel and like that. After 5 days, maybe 4 or 5 days, the guy came and said, how do you guys survive? How do you do it? Dad, you mean all this travel that you travel, you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't womanize, and you are a man.
And you have the money.
And you have the money. No, that was his major point. That he said, if you were the one that has the kind of money. He said, if I have the kind of money that you have. That's so he now asks the question, so how do you guys enjoy life? If you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't womanize, how do you enjoy life? So indirectly I've answered that question.
You know, he even asked me, he even told me, he said that he was expecting that once in a while we will send him to an unnecessary message so that
we have time to
everywhere we're going
took
together.
Him along.
You know, I had something recently and that thing stuck with me. The man said that cheap sex is very expensive.
True. True.
I had to process it and say, wow.
Yeah, because the consequences that comes with
consequences.
The consequences.
The
consequences.
Is it because anybody that easily gives in, there is something you must take out?
No, we've seen great men falling. Especially, in this part of the world in Africa, we don't take most of these things seriously. I still saw on social media today, a man was jailed in Florida for getting married to 3 women at the same time. And people were wondering, how did you do it in the United States? So it was the 3rd woman that discovered that he's married to 2 other people in other counties. Even me, I say the man get liver. He has in the United States where that is not
even in
permitted.
Different countries.
No, so but in this part of the world, you can have 3 wives, 4 wives, and like that. But just like you said, cheap sex can be very, very expensive, can be destructive, and we have great people that are falling just because of that. So that's why if you are a man and you have self-control, you are disciplined, I think it's a major trait. But in the real sense, it's not just about self-control and discipline. It's even running away. Don't hang around. Don't ever say, I'm powerful, I cannot fall, I can.
Eat.
No, don't smell it. Move away. Move away. Yeah. Run.
The portion of the Bible that advises on things like this say flee.
From every appearance. It's not even the real thing.
It does not
It appears like take off.
Borrow wings and fly away. All right. I think we're getting deep down into more business would you say that catching vision very early has given you an edge in business? Catching vision very early.
I'll be sincere. The answer is yes. And if there's anything I'm trying to do for my kids now, is to help them find purpose early enough. And let me tell how it shaped my life. I wouldn't say it was very early, but the fact that I caught it before I left the university. Yeah, if I hadn't gotten it before I left university, maybe it would have been more complex. I knew growing up, I wanted to be so many things. Permit me to talk about some of them.
Yeah.
At some point, I wanted to be an engineer because my dad was also an engineer in the military, so I loved being an engineer. And I had this senior friend in our neighborhood then that also was more like my mentor academically. We do all the further maths, physics, chemistry, and like together. And
Which one was your favorite
subject then, right? I later realized that none of it were my favorite. I was only doing sciences because of the notion that if you are doing well in class, you should be a science student. Because I got that's part of finding purpose. When I found purpose, that was when I knew that I had no business doing sciences. But imagine I wanted to be an engineer. And I actually got into the Polytechnic because that, my friend, told me then, you see, influence is powerful, that if you want to be an engineer, the best place to go to is Polytechnic. You do practical,
hands-on.
So I didn't even apply to go to the university at all. When I left secondary school, I just went to Polytechnic straight because my mentor said so. But it wasn't his fault. That was his level of understanding. So I went there. And while I was in my ND2 in the Polytechnic, I thank God for my parents. Whatever you say you want to do, they don't argue. I remember calling my dad one of those days and said, actually, this engineering thing is not cutting it for me. It's medicine I want to do now. And he did not even argue. He said, if that's what you want to do. I said, so as a result, I want to write JAM so I can move to the university. He said, why not? So right there, I wrote JAM. When I was going to get admission into the university, I didn't score up to the cutoff for medicine. So the course that was available for me then was microbiology. So I took the course. I said, at least
people don't know that you're a
microbiologist, micro-tinting. So I took it.
Are you applying that in real estate?
Oh my God. I look out for all the microorganisms
in the land.
So I took the microbiology course, and it was still with the determination that I want to still study medicine. In fact, a close friend of mine that we started it together later crossed to medicine.
Wow.
But for me, I was in part 2 studying microbiology, and that was when I discovered that I don't have business in the sciences. Now, all the while, I've always built capacity as a young leader, as a manager, as a business person. Those traits came naturally. But because of academic journey was looking bright, by privilege and by the grace of God, always being among the top 3, topping the class at times, always the top 3 at any stage throughout my academic sojourn. So
that's why you have Ph.D.
So that made me think, this guy, you are for sciences. Yeah. So that point when I discovered purpose, that I was called out for business. Because even at that stage, people will assume that I was going to be a pastor. Yeah. So that's the power of discovering purpose. I had all that it takes. At that level, I was already pastoring without having the title.
People assume that you were going to be a pastor.
Yeah.
You are a pastor.
I don't have the title. I don't have the title.
You don't have to have
pastor,
the title.
But I was doing the work, and people just assume that this guy, with the way he's going, leading campus fellowship, not just at my campus, but
national level,
local to national level, across all universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education in Nigeria. I was part of the executive at that national level.
It's one of
we
the
traveled from school to school.
People who know you now don't know about you. That used to be a pastor.
So, but because it was on campus, there was nothing like they ordain you specially as a pastor. Yeah. Some campus fellowship does that, but for us, I wasn't a pastor by title.
Ordination.
So, when at that level, it became clear to me that I was going to be in business, but not just doing business to impact life, such that even as a businessman, my light will so shine that people will also learn from my life and want to be like me. So you see, at that point, purpose was discovered. I wanted to be a military man at some point too. I wanted, just because my dad was in the military, he had a younger brother also that was a top naval officer. And whenever I go to visit him, then I love the white
uniform,
the white uniform with those. Oh my God! And I looked forward to a day where I also put on that white. He was a red gadget officer, so they have this red whatever, and just come sparkling. So I was looking forward to that time. So at some point, I wanted to go to NDA.
Now you are wealthy enough, you can buy the white.
I can buy. Oh my God! So that's it. It's sincerely. From that point, I started working towards how I will become an entrepreneur. I started attending courses, programs. So while my colleagues were only doing academics, I was already going outside of the campus to attend seminars, business schools, and like that. So getting out of the university, I had no business looking for a salaried job because I already knew that I will be a business person.
So up till now, you have not used your microbiology qualification.
Oh my God. I have not used, in fact, you said microbiology. I have not used the mic. Not to talk of the crow or biology. No, in no way.
So it's more like you went to school to fulfill all righteousness,
Just to fulfill all righteousness.
But your street training and your exposure
Correct.
has brought you to where you are today. Street smart or book smart?
I would say both, but sincerely, street smart is more important than book smart. Any day, I will choose street smart over book smart. And you know why? I'm an entrepreneur. And I know that it doesn't take book smart to build.
That's coming from somebody who has a PhD.
A PhD holder, and I'm telling you.
He's telling me
no,
street smart is
better.
You
can be a professor of business, and I will open a barber shop for you. Not be able to
run it down.
You run it down. So I always choose street smart over book smart. That's not to say being book smart is not important. It's very important. So if I'm a PhD holder and I'm saying street smart over book smart, I'm not relegating being book smart. But I know that the world we live in right now, education has gone beyond just the career thing, the academics. No. In fact, education has become an adventure now. You can learn from any part of the world, especially with the advent of internet. Have you checked most of the tech bros we have today? Not many of them have university degrees, but yet the things they are building are the things changing our world today. Look at what is happening with artificial intelligence. There are many people that they've not gone through the 4 walls of classroom per se. They just sit at home, learn on the internet, watch YouTube videos, attend seminars, attend courses, bam. But you can have all of that and still not be at the top. If you look at most businesses that are doing well, it is the C student that hires the A student. At times you get book smart and it makes you think that you are the smartest in the room, not knowing that the guy out there that is not as smart as you education-wise, is thinking about solving problems that you are not even thinking about. And most times when you are book smart, you solve problems from a narrow point of view. But when you are street smart, you understand the problem better. You're only looking for those that will
use a formula because you are used to formulas.
Exactly.
You want to use formula
logic
to
all the time.
Solve every problem rather than thinking outside the box or thinking without the box.
Because when you live at that realm, that the box does not even exist, so no barrier.
Somebody was doing an analogy. Somebody gave an analogy of this, and it's been something that a number of people can relate with. He said, you have the A student, the B student, and the C student.
Yeah.
He says, so the A student graduates and look for a very good job. They get the very high paying job.
Yeah.
The B student gets the middle class paying job. Why the C students hardly find good job, so they start a business.
Yeah.
grow the business, get to employ both the C,
The B.
the B, and
The
the
A.
and the A students.
Yeah.
You know, and that's like whenever I look at that, I say this is the irony of life.
In most
You know,
cases, yeah.
so the people who are supposed to be like the failure in the society are the ones that say, okay, we don't even have the kind of certificate that will give us job.
Yeah.
So let's start a business. They
create
grow the
something.
business and now eventually employ the people who have the good certificates. You know, I remember one time a particular wealthy man in our country was going to start a company, and he said he only wants Ph.D. holders.
Yeah, in the same country,
Same country.
at the point,
Driver.
they wanted people to drive truck, and the basic qualification was BSc. And I was like, for a truck driver, we are booking go drive for me. You know, very well.
What's the place of self-development? You know, what's the place of self-development in, actualizing your goals in life?
Yeah, I think that's even the biggest journey you can undertake in this generation. Because if you look at success has been redefined in this generation. And the route to achieving success has totally changed. A young man at the corner of his room with just a phone and internet can do wonders and be known all over the world. All he needed to do is to learn how to use the platform that has been created for him to reach the entire world. And that's why everyone today should always think of what is unique about you. In most cases, there's something that you have that I lack, and there's something I have that you lack. Identifying that thing that you have and being able to commercialize it is what makes success cheap. It's not always about what you do. It is how well you are able to commercialize it. And it takes personal development, capacity building for you to know how to commercialize it. Let's give an example of talking. They say talk is cheap. It looks cheap, but for some people, they talk for a living and they earn some good money just by talking. So to such people, you can't say talk is cheap because they earn a living from talking. So if it takes you building capacity to earn a living from talking, we all wake up and we talk every day, but not everybody earns from talking. So whatever you want to do, any career path you choose, always be intentional. I tell people at the workplace, the fact that you are an employee, you have your KPIs, you have your job description, if you limit yourself only to what you are told to do, you will always be a mediocre. For you to be that employee that will stand out, you have to go above and beyond. Yeah, you don't work in a place and you just want to be rudimental. They told you this is how they do it. Don't you think your boss will be happy to see you come someday and say, though we have been doing this thing this way, but I did some research and found out 2 or 3 other ways that this can be done. And it will save us money, it will save us time. People want employees that can be effective and efficient at the same time. But it takes capacity building for that to happen. So it's not something that we can downplay. And it has to do with every phase of life, regardless of what you do. Right now, you must build capacity. And like I said, it's looking even a lot easier now to grow capacity because there are teachers everywhere. If the student is ready, the teacher will always appear. So we have teachers everywhere. And it's
what are the sources, recommended sources for personal development?
In this age and time, the biggest one is leveraging artificial intelligence. Start with ChatGPT. As small as that platform is, it has changed the way we develop ourselves. There's virtually no question you have that it doesn't have answers to. I wonder why employees in today's world are not delivering excellent presentations. Because everything you want to do, if you hire me today as a business development manager in an organization, all I need, just tell me what field, maybe in oil and gas or in, real estate or banking. If I go to GPT today and say, I've just been hired as a business development manager in this oil company. ChatGPT, I need you to guide me through how I can become the superstar employee in my role. ChatGPT will start telling you things to do. And when it tells you the first set of things, it will ask you question again. Do you want me to do this? If you say yes, it will tell you. It will ask again, do you want me to do this? To the point that even if you want to do designs, you want to prepare paper, you want to prepare slides, it does everything for you. So I wonder why employees are not turning superstars
Is that
at the
not,
workplace.
Is that not being lazy?
Oh my God.
Using ChatGPT? Because something that you are supposed to sit down, develop with your brain,
right?
think, and let your brain sweat. We said
God.
earlier on that brain should
The
sweat.
brain should sweat, right? Okay, let your brain sweat, counting the so much money you have made that is sweating and you are not making any money at all. I see artificial intelligence has come to stay, and the earlier people embraced it and jump at it, the better. Many years ago,
So artificial intelligence is not going anywhere.
oh my God, I know you are joking.
Some people are looking forward to, don't worry, to soon go away.
It will soon go away, right? It has come to stay. The world is changing rapidly, and the earlier you align yourself with it, I tell people, especially at the workplace, whatever you're doing, ask yourself, how is AI impacting what I'm doing? It's important. In fact, the same AI platform, use it to ask, will I still have a job in the next 2 years? It will tell you.
Maybe you go there and say, AI, this is my job description. But with the advent of AI, will I still have job in the next 6 months? And AI will tell you, I've come to take your job.
So people need to leverage these tools. Many years ago, when we want to communicate, if you are in Lagos and I am in Abuja, what do? You write letter. You have to go to post office, you send it. It might take 3 days or 1 week for it to get to me. And we are doing business. But all of a sudden, the .com age came and we started having emails. Imagine somebody in this age still saying that
I just want to
write the letter and send it. That's the way it will be very soon if you don't align yourself. Because people would have gone and all of a sudden you realize that you are the only one left behind. So regardless of your job role, if you're a tech person, the website you used to build before that you are making money with, in 2 minutes, AI will build website for people. Even softwares even something better. If you're an interior decorator, before now you used to charge people heavily just to help them create a unique 3D design. You are out of job already because ChatGPT will design and even give me, I say ChatGPT, AI will design and give me like 4 options for me to pick from. So very soon, architects used to say, oh, it will take us 1 month to complete your drawing. Right now, AI will design solid house. And the interesting thing, most of these tools are beginning to come for free. So very soon, if you don't align as a professional to be ahead of the game, such that you want to learn how to use those tools better than the layman. So it is that using it better that will now be your leverage.
Especially learning the promptings.
Exactly.
How to prompt the AI.
Yeah.
Because it is what you put in
that will determine the quality
of what you get out. So one of the major skills that we need to start learning now will be to learn how to prompt this AI and all of that. What about the place of exposure? And maybe also at the place of mentorship, in self-development?
Yeah, you see, I will rate anyone that has traveled to maybe different countries or in different continents and does not have a university degree. I will rate the person higher than a PhD holder that has not left. Let me put it this way.
No, I want to get it very clear.
Okay.
I have traveled to
I have 2 Nigerians.
UK, I've traveled to the US, and I've traveled to maybe somewhere in Dubai.
Exactly.
Right? You will rate me higher
than a PhD holder that has never left Nigeria. And I'm saying that, so I'm not trying to rubbish PhD, I'm also a PhD holder. So that's to let you know what exposure does to your psyche. How it helps you make decisions that changes your life. I remember one of our mentors those days was trying to do some things at the workplace, and he was painting a picture of how he wanted the environment to look like and beautify it, and all the employees were looking at it as a waste of money. Like, we don't need to do this. This is waste of money. And you know what he did? The following year, he just arranged for them to travel with him. It was just South Africa they went to. And when they got there, when they got to the airport, one of them needed to use the washroom. And, you know, in fact, to start with, when they entered the airport, you know, it was many years ago, they realized that they didn't have to open the door. That as they were getting there, the doors were just opening. You know, they thought it was the anointing. They said the doors were opening on their own accord. You got to the washroom, also used the toilet, and immediately he stood up, the thing just flushed itself. And this was many years ago. And when they saw how beautiful the place was, when they got back to Nigeria, they were the one agitating that we must do this, we must do. That's the power of exposure. It challenges your mind. You can't downplay it. I remembered that many years ago when my dad traveled out of the country for the first time and he came back to Nigeria. You know, the first thing he said, if you live in this country all your life and you die and now go to heaven, that you blame yourself. I'm telling you, because you just realize that you came to, let me not use the extreme word that he used because we are on a live. So all he was just trying to say is don't live all your life in this country without having the experience of other places. It changes the way you do things. So exposure, you can't downplay it. Mentorship, you know, I mentioned it earlier. I value it so much that the first book that I ever authored in my life was on mentorship. I had to tell the story of how mentoring helped me grew. You know, from,
I remember the book Leverage.
Yeah, Leverage. Yeah. How I gained global relevance through mentorship. And I told the story of the step-by-step of how our mentors held us by the hand. You know, nobody gets to the top by yourself. You are being held by the hand to the top. So the earlier you understand this, the better. Whether at the workplace, political scene, even in churches, that's the truth. Thank God for anointing. But you grew over time. You attend classes from Sunday school. Somebody taught you.
So when you talk about church, you want to talk about politics.
Yeah.
So does it mean that all this Godfatherism thing?
You're asking me if I believe in Godfatherism?
Yes.
100+%. Yeah.
Wow.
It is not, Godfatherism is not the problem. It is who is your Godfather. That is the problem. Okay. What kind of mindset does your Godfather has? So there's no problem in having a Godfather. In fact, the word mentorship came from something similar to Godfatherism. Exactly. So there's no problem in having a Godfather. Who is your Godfather is what is important. What is their nature? What is their character? How are they developing? What are they developing you for? That's what we should be talking about. Because Godfatherism is like mentoring. And it's very important in every sphere. There are places you can't get to without a Godfather. That's the truth, and you have to admit it. Because they make the journey easier for you. There are doors that you don't need to struggle to open, because they will open the door and say, come with me.
You know, I was analyzing something, especially as it has to do with politics in Nigeria. And I said that we don't, all this, we need a very good leader, I see that one of the things we've had in Nigeria is that we've had leaders who pay more attention to politics than governance. And what we are looking for in Nigeria that can transform Nigeria is governance. But the road to governance is politics. So if
they are Siamese twins,
yes,
you can't separate them.
Yeah, you can't separate them. So it's either we have somebody who understands both governance and politics, who will play both very well, or we have somebody who understands governance, who will run for the office, but have a godfather that understands politics, so that we can balance it. Or else, there are many people who have become casualties in politics because they understood only governance, and when they got into into the office, they play them out.
Yeah.
They play them out seriously.
I agree.
All right, let's get down to business, core business. All right. At what point did you have your 10x? Where people started talking about you, where they started saying things like, what did he do? At what point was that, and what did you do to get there?
Awesome.
Because somebody came to advise me. He first asked me a question that, Mr. Wisdom, do you know this person? Do you know this person? I say, yes. He said, did you offend them? I said, no. He said, be careful about them. I said, why? And he said, they said this. Number one, they said they don't know what you are doing to make money. Some of them say it might be ritual. Some of them say it might be fraud and all of that. How can somebody's life just change within a very short time? How can you just go from not having a car to now giving out cars? Within a very short time. So what was that stage where you experienced the 10x, and what led to that?
You see, success is not a destination. It's always a journey. And it's the accumulation of effort that yields result. People only see when the result appears, but they don't see the rigor that people go
they
to.
see the
process.
glory, but they don't see the story.
Correct. So that's what they see. And there is always a process to every success story. And talking about that moment, that was the 10th moment, is an accumulation of so many things that have happened over time. But in business, you are able to tell at some point what you did that now made everything blue. And I think for me, it was growing Pertinence Group together with you. And I'm thankful to God for the privilege of us working together. I knew we were in business just like every other person. We wanted to solve problems. And business is about solving problems. And when you solve enough problems, you make money. But you must solve the right problems. So for us, we asked ourselves, what problems are we here to solve? We had products we were trying to push. We were struggling, just like most other small business people struggling. But we got to a point of asking the right question. And when we got the answer, it was a turning point. For me, it was that point where we discovered that rather than going after money, trying to make money, we should focus on how to make other people make money, help other people make money. Because it is not possible for you to raise millionaires and you are not a millionaire.
I remain a thousandaire.
So our investment and our focus in business from that point changed towards how to make other people millionaires. That for me, that was the 10th moment. Because all of a sudden, we go for a retreat, and when we are planning, rather than talking about what we want to achieve, we are talking about, what will be the drive for the next 6 months? How many people do we want to have on board? And how do we want the lives of these people to change? So we are telling ourselves this year, it would be nice that this business give at least 20 cars out. This business should be able to give up to 20 or 30 plots of land. Now, you do not have it, but yet you are planning for people to have it. So we now started asking questions that if these people must have it, what platforms can we create to help them deploy their skills, deploy their talents, deploy their energy so they can have it? So we started creating platforms. And because we created platforms from these people, as the platform was paying them, the platform was also paying us. And it's as simple as that. You can't raise 10 millionaires and you'll be 1,000. Automatically, you become a millionaire.
You can't raise 10 millionaires and remain a thousandaire.
So, and that's the 10x moment.
Now, having experienced your 10x moment, what were those, what I'll call it more like side talks that came alongside with it? Things that you had and you were like, wow, what kind of thing is this? because I just shared mine. People saying number. They would say, whether it's in the family, people, you used to live in a particular house. I remember one of the houses where you used to live in. Maybe one of these, you talk about that house one of these days, where your landlady had your switch to your power supply
when
inside
it feels
her
like
room.
it's just switch off the power.
She had your
for water. To the same place. You are not owing yet. And she just feels like this guy will sleep without light today. And you'll be like, God have mercy.
Now, those kind of people living around you, and all of a sudden, they now see that you are out. When Yoruba people will say moja, you now jar to the extent where you could literally even buy the place where you used to live.
I think for me, it was a bit different, and I'll put it this way. It was more of people now saying, I had always known it would succeed. But you know why I do not agree with them? If you had always known that I would succeed, you would have supported me. And most of these people never supported. Of course, they saw how I worked hard and I served God very hard. So praying as though it's only prayer that I needed to succeed, but also working as though prayer does not work at all. That was the attitude I grew up with. That was how I invested into making things work. So people saw that process, how this guy was always out there, even when there was nothing. Also, I was very audacious in my, statements about the future. Even when I did not have a dime, I was one of those that would say, I can't be poor. And people around me would be looking like, this guy is arrogant. How will you say you can't be poor? We can see poverty around you. Even the poor saw me as poor, and you are saying you cannot be poor. You are poor already. But that attitude, that positive mental attitude, kept me going. So when things started happening, I had more things like, I'd always known you succeed. But most of them I did not agree with.
More like they say,
because
Papilo.
Yeah,
I know so one day you will make us proud.
But you did not support. The things I sold, you did not buy. And you said you had always known that. If you believed in me, you would have bought those things, knowing that those things will not fail. If you believed in me, those businesses I started, you would have invested in it. So if you are now telling me I'd always known you would succeed, for me, I feel like the true proof would have been that you supported me through the process.
Have you ever failed before? And how did you bounce back?
I failed many
Especially
times.
in business.
Yeah. I failed many times, and I'm still failing even up till now.
Wow.
See, people must understand that the successful people that have been celebrated, if you go and check, the failures they had through the journey will always be more than the successes. But the beauty of success is that it erases every traces of failure in your life. So that when you start talking about your failures, people will even doubt that it ever happened, because they will not be able to place the success and the failures side by side. So for me, I would say so many times, even today, I was coming in the car and one of my mentees was talking to me about a particular business that I told them I was no longer interested in doing. And he asked me, he said, why? I told him purely because the business failed. I invested so much into it, but there was a missing link that wasn't fixed. There are times that you just feel that because of the acumen you have about business, it should go this way, it should go this way. Do you know why that business failed? I over-invested in it. People might not understand some of these things like that. Why will a business fail? Because you over-invested. So if I want to do that business over again, I will not invest as much as I invested in it. I will allow the business grow organically first. The concept would have been proven, then I can pump money into it, because the business has shown that it can sustain itself. So any resources that goes into it will now amplify the success. So that's just an example of something that I've done that failed. In business also, business is about decision making. And at times we make decisions that don't go the right way. And this decision can cost you money, can cost you time, can cost you resources. There has been time we made those kind of decisions. But the beauty of success, one right decision erases all the wrong decisions.
Now, what were those mindsets, that helps you to sustain even in the midst of, difficult situation, in the midst, there are people who, when they are facing difficult situation, they have the wrong mindset, and that can put someone in perpetual suffering, perpetual failure, and all of that. But what are those mindsets that one needs to develop to stay positive even in the face of adversity?
I'll start from a spiritual point of view, because it's what you have that you flaunt, right? One of our mentors will say, it's either you are in the secret place or you are in the secret court. It's always one of the two. Secret place meaning that you are connected to God. You see, this mindset of I'm not in control. God is in control. I put in effort as though I'm in control, but I'm conscious that every phase of my life, God is always involved. So even when things turn southward or south, I will always have to go to Him to say, I thank you for where I am, but I know you have a reason why this has happened and you have a better plan for me. That is the first one, because I've been through some difficult moments, even as far as even losing loved ones very close to you. Those are always painful moments, and you almost question, why should I lose this kind of person at this material point in time? So that's where the spirituality comes in. Those that don't have that depth spiritually, at those moments they can say all manner of negative things. So that's why I started from there. But apart from that, you see, if you have positive mental attitude, your perspective will always be positive. Because most of the times it's not what we go through, it is how we respond to the things that happen to us. So I've always built that capacity to see the positive side of whatever happens. Because in life, it's easy to spot problems. So when we go through things, everybody can easily spot that there's a problem here. But if you are given to always asking yourself, telling yourself, yes, there's a problem. But the reason why this problem exists is because there is a solution. It takes someone with a positive mental attitude. And that can only happen if inside of you, you have grown it. Because it is first within before you can express it outside. So for me, a combination of that consciousness of God being involved and, building my mind to a point that I recognize when negative happen. I will not deny the fact that it is negative, but I'm conscious that there's a positive way to manage that negative situation.
Positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
Well, this particular question is one of the major highlights of this our interaction.
Okay.
Because it's called 10x. All right. Because it's the 10x, we want to look at how can we 10x our life. And I want to ask you this question because you're a businessman, you have made money in millions of dollars. I'm a young man. I'm in maybe my early 20s. Before I clock 40, I want to make my first $1 million. What do you have to say to me?
I would advise you firstly to find what you love to do. That thing that even if they don't pay you to do it, you will do it and you will enjoy doing it. Once you find that, find a way to get people to pay you to do that thing. So it means naturally you love doing it, even if you are not being paid. Now, you are now growing capacity in doing that thing such that people will be willing to pay you to do it. You know what? Success can be enjoyable when you are doing what you love to do. Because people will see it as work. You will see it as fun. And everything, the more you invest into it, the better you become at it. Let's say, for example, you are a content creator. If you love creating content, to some people, content creation will be work. To you, content creation is fun. Naturally, we were coming from a trip recently, both of us, we flew in business class. And a young lady was sitting in front of us.
Content
and
everywhere.
From beginning, we're talking of a 13 hours flight.
Yeah.
From the beginning of the flight till the flight ended. She was creating content, and I was like, wow,
All kinds of content.
I can't do that. It's stress for me.
When she was going to board the flight, she was on the phone.
Everything.
When she was going to sit down,
Yeah.
she put on the phone to sit down. When she sat down and we're going to take off, she put even at a particular time they were serving food. The first food they served, she took
Everything. So imagine creating all of that and nobody is paying you. It will be difficult for you to make $1 million. But if you love to do it and you get people to pay you to do it to a point that people get they are affectionate towards what you do and they want to pay for it. So if people say it's not what you do that makes you successful, it is how you do it. That's a practical example. That's why some people, all they do is sell palm oil. It may not look lucrative, but they love to do it. They've mastered the act of doing it, and they got people to pay them, and they made $1 million. Not everybody will make it through tech, so you must realize that. But you see that thing you love to do, always find a way to get people to pay you, because you will keep doing it as fun, yet people will be
How do I find people to pay me?
All right, and that's where knowledge comes to play. Now, whatever you love to do, you must keep asking yourself, who are the best at it? And you want to follow them. Learn what they do. Because you love to do it, you can sit and watch a 6 hours YouTube learning video about that thing. Because it's what you love. And by the time you come out to do it, every day you are improving at it. People will always pay for value. It's the quality of value that you deliver that determines what they pay you. So getting people to pay you is always a process. You said you are a young man, but you shouldn't be in a hurry. In most cases, we just want to eat it fast and eat it quick. I don't have a problem with you eating it fast. But if you jump up, you fall down. So if you climb up, you stay up because you use the ladder and it took you up. But if you just jump, gravity, the force of gravity will throw you back down. But if you use the ladder and climb, you get to the top and you sit down there comfortably and you're able to see what is happening around you. That is the process.
You are a master salesperson. What is the place of selling in getting to get people to pay you?
Oh my God. You see, if you are in business and you have not mastered the act of selling, your success will be cut short. Yeah, because it will get to a point that you get wearied with what you are doing because it will no longer be fun to you. But if you have developed the capacity to sell and sales become enjoyable, the more you create what you're doing, the more you want to push it out for people to buy. In any business, I see sales as the blood that makes the business to succeed. Yeah, what blood is to the body, that's what sales is to any business, because sales is what generates cash flow. So everyone that is a salesperson should be celebrated in any organization. And that's why as a business owner, you should always be the number one salesperson in your business. It should come naturally for you because it will later become contagious and your team members will be conscious that what keeps this business going is sales. So for me, sales is fun. It's what I've done all my life. It's what I'll keep doing. And I know that there is no way any business can scale big without selling.
Now, what advice would you give, let's say 3 advice, would you give your 20-year-old? Looking back. Okay. Number 1, I would advise that my 20-year-old discover purpose early enough. Because most of the time, people struggle through the 20s to the 30s before they now realize what they should be doing. And most of the time, you now start to do catch-up because early enough, you have not discovered what you are called out for, what you should spend 80% of your time doing. Because if you split your time and you invest only 10% to what should be getting 80%, the output that will come from there
will not be significant. But if early enough you know that one thing that should take 80% of your time, you want to focus your attention on doing it and doing it well. So that's the number one advice. The number two advice, I would say that my 20-year-old should think beyond the local space. You see, almost everything we do right now, you are no longer competing with your neighbor. You know, when we started then, we thought our competition was our immediate environment. We didn't discover early enough that our competition has become global. So my 20-year-old must be conscious of the fact that your competition is now global. So early enough, you should start thinking about how to connect at the global level. Very important. If you see an average person in this part of the world that did not come from a wealthy family, before they even ever think of ever doing anything that will connect them to people beyond their geographical location, maybe they're already in their 30s. There are things that will challenge your mind when you start approaching life from a global perspective. It even helps you to manage people better, right? If you go on the social media space in Nigeria today, you can tell how backward people are from the way they think, the things they jest about, and so many other things. And I just say, wow, if these people were exposed enough to know that the way they are thinking right now is not the way people think on a global space. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So for me, I'll tell my 20-year-old right now, ensure that you approach life from a global point of view. But one consistent one that I always tell my 20-year-old, I would have made it number one, but I'll make it number three. And that's ensure that you are well connected to God. I said it earlier, my mentor will say you are either in the secret court or in the secret place. You cannot quantify the level of peace that comes with you just living your life right. Most of the people that are troubled in marriages today is simply because you are cutting corners. So I see people still debating this day and time about should your wife have access to your phone? Should your husband have access to it? What are you hiding? Why shouldn't they have access to your phone? If you are truly husband and wife and you have built your relationship on a foundation of trust, because true marriages thrive on the foundation of trust. So my 20-year-old should stay focused, loving God and living that life that will give you peace of mind. Because at the end of the day, all our struggle, you can make all the money and suddenly realize that money is not everything that you need. But nobody wants to believe or agree with that. Everybody wants to find out. So when they say money won't make you happy, everybody says, let me find out by myself. Don't tell me. Let me make the money first. When I make it, I will know whether it makes me happy or not. Money can make you happy if you are at peace. But if you make money and you are not at peace, then you won't be happy.
Are you a ritualist?
Yes, I'm a ritualist. It depends on the ritual you are talking about, because there are things I have been doing for more than 20 years of my life. I can't stop doing. They have become ritual because those are the very things that made me Sunday Olorunsheyi. So if you look at it from that perspective, you say I'm a ritualist.
So what are those rituals that you do?
It starts with my connection to God. Very important. I don't joke with that. I see it as the foundation of every other thing. Secondly, I pay attention to my environment. I want to be in the right environment at all times because I know your environment influences you, imparts your growth. I want to be around the right people. So I ensure that I'm always connecting with the right set of people. People in whose destination looks like mine. So we are going towards the same destination. And that also includes mentors too. this has become part of me. I value, I respect them, I look up to them to learn from them on daily basis. Then finally, in the area of business, I can't stop just creating things. It's just part of us. It's natural to both of us. So that's why when people look at our business today, they will say, how do you guys manage all of this? You are in real estate, you are in hospitality, you are in tech, you are in banking, you are in agriculture, you are in construction, you are in capacity building, you have business school. How are you doing all of this? It's natural, because while you are still saying how are you doing this, we are even creating more things. So these things have become natural to me. They have ritual. I just always want to think of what's the next problem that we should be solving.
I remember the early days of business. I think we were in the office one day, and one of the greatest mistakes you can do is to ask us, what do you do?
Oh my God.
So one particular guy came and said, what do you guys even do here?
Yeah.
And we sat him down. By the time we finished, the guy looked around. As in, is he here?
Is he in this cubicle?
He said, yeah, he's here. Because to him, where we are using and how we're looking does not connect with the number of things we were doing.
But we were incurable optimists.
He was
we were restless.
Yeah, he started advising us that why don't we reduce on the things we say, okay, we have had you. Immediately he left, we say, oh yeah, let's create more. Because this word, sometimes people use it in a negative way. Use the word ritual, more like ritualists that people would do, evil things. But really, it's more like what you do regularly, on a regular basis. That defines who a ritualist is. Then the next one is another one that I may want to explain before I ask you. So a few years ago, I had the word making a difference. Mad. Being mad. Are you mad?
I've always been mad. It takes you being mad to impact your world. Yeah. But even in the literal sense, have you observed that people do crazy things for them to become visible? And just by doing those crazy things, they make a living out of life. I saw some guys recently that said he was a human being and it wasn't paying him. He decided to be a gorilla. And that started making money for him. Brands started inviting him to come and do that gorilla character. Movies, people started inviting him to come and act a role that would be a gorilla there. So it takes being different. That's why in journalism, if a dog bites a man, it's no news. But if a man bites a dog, that's the news. Headline news. So you just have to be mad to be successful in life.
Wow.
You just have to be mad.
How do you manage your mental health? Because these days, any small thing, mental health. How do you have such a strong mental health that you're able to juggle a lot of things together and still you are sane?
Okay, but I'll answer this from two perspectives because we must also express our vulnerability when you need to do that, so that you won't make people keep seeing you as a Superman, right? And everybody now think that is the way life is. Everybody always have that low moment.
Downtime.
Yeah, it comes, but that's not the problem. It is how you respond to those low moments. And that's why the residual knowledge, more like what Yoruba call ajesara, permit me, it's more like you have, what would I call that in English? The word just omitted my mind right now.
Resistance.
That you have been built inside of you.
Resilience.
Yeah, when things happen. Yoruba will also say something. It is what the bird eats inside that gives you the energy to fly. So it's not that we don't have those low moments. It comes. But the knowledge that you have acquired over the years is what responds to those low moments. There are times that you just have to encourage yourself. If you are waiting for someone to encourage you, you might never find one. So the missing link for those that slide into depression and talk about having mental health issues is the fact that they've not grown enough capacity to be able to encourage themselves when they needed that encouragement. So once they start seeing only the negative side of things, they slide into depression. Things happen, no doubt about it. But for some of us, we have never found ourselves in a position where we say our mental health has been bastardized. But that does not mean we should not be careful too. Imagine if you are a businessman, you are a father, you are a pastor, you are a missionary, you do everything. And you can get overwhelmed at some point. And before you know it, you look at yourself and feel, what am I living life for? I'm just giving to everybody and I'm not receiving back. Or I'm giving to everybody in a sacrificial way that is draining me, right? Something still happened 2 days ago, and I was working and I felt so tired. And those are the things that affect mental health, because I hadn't slept the whole night till the next day.
For like 3 days.
Yeah, I flew for almost 24 hours plus. I got to Nigeria, started doing one or two things, but it just got to a point. I told myself there was a very important meeting, a management meeting. It was to start 3 p.m. And as at 2:45, 2:50, the meeting I was in, I could feel the weight and the tiredness. I picked the phone and I called. That management meeting can't hold. And I went to my bedroom in the office and slept. Those are ways to manage it. You don't feel you are a Superman. If anything happens to you, management meeting will continue. They will keep holding it.
They'll just observe 1 minute silence.
Yeah, and that's the life goes on. So we must be vulnerable. It takes humbling yourself to call that kind of meeting and say, I want to sleep. I am tired. Because at that point, something kept telling me,
it's not a sin to sleep.
To sleep, rest, and life continues. Yeah.
All right, toning it down and getting towards the wrapping this up. You're a PhD holder. Why PhD? What do you need PhD for?
This is not the first time I'm getting that question. More like, why PhD? Anyway, for me,
like book.
Yes, part of it. One of the things my wife will always warn me about is that this year you are entering. I don't want to hear that you are going to another school, because she feels every time you are in school, 50% of the attention that we're supposed to get, you invested in trying to pass exams, do this. So for me, it has a lot to do with some future plans. I have a clear picture of what I want to do when I'm 50 and above. I know I want to be in the classroom, not necessarily the conventional classroom, right? Since business is what I do, and the PhD I got is in business administration, I want to be in a position whereby, whether you are talking from a classroom point of view or experiential point of view, I should qualify to speak about what I'm doing. So it's just the natural affinity for knowledge and to transfer knowledge. So I want to teach. I want to, communicate, tell people about what I've learned, tell stories, and that's the plan for when I'm 50 and I'm up and above. So it's just a preparation for that time. That's the reason why, it's a preparation for the future.
What do you do to relax? At the beginning, we're talking about you don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't womanize, you don't party, you don't go to nightclubs. So how do you relax?
Oh my God.
How does Sunday Olorunsheyi relax?
When you write exams and you all have A, and it gets to a point, you maybe score a D somewhere, maybe even an F. I think that's one of the places that I'm learning. Thank God for my wife. Once a while, she just wants to take me out, ensure that I unwind.
I know recently she took you out.
Yeah,
you went to do
the
manicure. I mean, what they call it.
And like that. For me, it looks strange as a man to go and but she just wanted me to relax. If you work hard, you should also rest. And I think that's an area I'm really trying to work on. I'm not proud of it that I don't have too many things that I do to unwind. The only thing I do is always be with my family, relax, watch movies, sleep. That's it. Not much of going out. And life is not all about that. You go out with your wife, go out, Of course, my kids, they don't joke with that. Every time I'm around, I'm that available dad to take them anywhere they want to take anywhere they want to go to. But that's for the kids, right? I should have my own time. I should have my own places that I go to. And that's one thing. My wife is working with me on that to improve.
I'm also trying to work.
Yeah, I
with
know
you
you have done a lot.
Once
All
in a
the
while.
times I've ever gone for massage, you took me. All the times I've ever gone for massage, I know a number of times where you just have booked a section, whether you like it or not.
Let's go there.
Let's go and at least let them massage you and like that. And
Because
I loved it.
that, like we used to say in Nigeria, body no be firewood.
At all.
The
at
body
all.
will always need some form of rest. You know, talking about your family, how has it been? You know, because I know we are family people. But I say that one of the reasons why my money is spent a lot on tickets is because I had to always fly back from Nigeria to go and see my family where they stay. You know, so how has it been, family life?
For me, it's been fulfilling because I'm a family-oriented.
Raising children, you now have teenage kids. You know,
Yeah, a 16 and a 14.
are you
and,
managing?
know,
I'm going to be having one very soon in October. You know, so I'm wondering.
It's one of the most sensitive phase in in the journey of family. You know, it gets to a point where it's no longer about just your wife or yourself. It's both of you, you know, working collaboratively to raise the kids. But I think the number one lesson that I've learned about parenting and raising kids is being the right example. They see everything that you do. They
Right
see
example.
everything. So it gets to a stage, especially when they are teenagers, it is no longer what you tell them to do. It is what they have seen you do over the years that they want to replicate. It's easier to correct them with your examples than to correct them with your words. That's one major lesson my wife and I learned, and we were able to ensure that we lived our life in such a way that the kids we are good examples to them. At this age, there are a number of no's they've gotten from us. But when they get the no's, we have been able to build a culture and a relationship that makes them know that it's out of a place of love. Oh, I want to go have sleepover at my friends. I was no, you don't have to do sleepovers to prove that you are good friends, right? We can allow you any day, anytime, go see them. At this stage, no sleepovers. And they needed to understand why we're saying no sleepovers, you know. And there are times where you want to make some expensive decisions, spending excessively, and we say, no, we can afford it, but because of this reason, we are not going to do this now. Maybe at so time we'll do it. So one way we have been able to do it, to explain, right? You don't just say it, you explain the reason why this should not work. And we're grateful to God that the kids have been very cooperative, because especially in the climate where they live in, if they don't cooperate with you, there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, you live in North America, your kids are not cooperating, there's nothing you can do.
If they don't cooperate, there's nothing you can do about it, but there are consequences.
Of course.
You know, which they will face eventually if they don't cooperate. Because what you are
one
doing,
thing you can do is to trick them home and
and show them life.
So let them come and learn in Nigeria.
we are building businesses. You know, are your kids interested in your business?
I'll say yes and no. I'll put it this way. I have two of them. My daughter, which is that one that has so much interest in education. She loves to read. She wants to top the class, get all the awards.
Yeah, and she has always done that.
Yeah, so for her, she has never talked about anything business, and I've allowed her that way. But I think for my son, is that person that is street smart. You know, you asked me about whether street smart or book smart. Is that street smart person? So he has this consciousness that I don't have to kill myself.
You know, we had a conversation recently that I told you.
Yeah, you told me.
When I told him that he had a build for American football, I said, I also have build for offices. To go and do business and make money.
So he is that kind of person. So to a large extent, I would say, okay, he is interested in business. Maybe not necessarily my business, because I wouldn't want to be carried away thinking. Because most business owners grow to a stage where it's more like their children broke their heart. Because they just assumed that naturally they are children. No, they might want to explore. For example, my son looks like somebody that will handle a good podcast. He loves talking,
Interacts.
and like that. So if tomorrow he says he wants to be a YouTuber, and I was already thinking that because he wanted to do business, my business, then I'll be heartbroken.
And we have multi-millionaires in dollars who are
Exactly.
YouTubers. Mr. Beast
many.
is one of the top earning.
They are all his
YouTubers.
friends because he follows them back to back. So if I won't be surprised if tomorrow he says I want to be a YouTuber, and that's his own business. So I wouldn't have to say you must do my own business. That's why we build systems and structures around our business. So it's not dependent on anybody. So if my son is even to come into my business today, he will have to go and learn, through the roles, because most times if you just put them there because they are your children and they have not learned what it takes to grow businesses of that size, they can crumble the business. So that's why they have to be involved. Learn, start from a manager level, grow to, maybe assistant manager, then you understudy very well before you are talking about leading a business.
Wrapping up, completely wrapping up. What is it that I don't know about you? We are business partners. We've known ourselves for almost 2 decades, and I think I want to believe I know everything about you, but I know that it's not possible for you to know everything about somebody. What is it I don't know about you?
Maybe you confirm if you know this or not, that I have another elder sister apart from the elder sister that you know.
I didn't know that.
Okay. Maybe just that.
Wow.
That I have another elder sister from one of my parents.
I want to meet her.
You want to meet her?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, maybe because I was thinking, have I ever mentioned it? Have I not mentioned it?
Wow, I didn't know that.
I have an elder sister from one of my parents.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. We have come to almost the end of this particular episode. But we'll still have more interactions. You will be a regular guest.
It will be a pleasure any day.
Yeah, we're still going to have more interactions. So at this point, there are 2 assignments we want you to carry out for us. Number 1 is I want you to, mention to us who you want us to interview next. Who do you want us to interview next on this podcast?
Maybe I'll just say Dr. Olumide Emmanuel.
Okay.
If it's on your shopping list,
Dr. Olumide Emmanuel, this is Dr. Sunday calling on you to be on this podcast.
Yeah.
Now, having invited Dr. Olumide Emmanuel, what activity would you want, either an activity or a question you would like to ask, leave down for Dr. Olumide Emmanuel? When he comes, we're either going to ask him or ask him to do that activity.
Okay. If it's a question, I want to ask him how he manages so many relationships in his life and stays committed to almost every one of them. Because I've observed him being committed to people. It's so busy, but yet if you are in his corner and he's committed to you, I envy the way he responds to things and people, doing so many things at the same time, and yet very effective at doing it. I
sent him an email last night. By this morning he has replied. And he doesn't do it only to me, he does it to virtually everybody.
I feel guilty because he sends me messages at times. It takes hours. Because I hardly check my WhatsApp. It looks like distraction to me most times. So I can leave my phone for hours. And the phone can even be with me. I won't check WhatsApp. Because I feel it might distract what I'm doing at that point. And later, when I see messages from people like him, and it has been hanging for maybe hours, I feel guilty. Because when I send messages to him, the rate at which
response,
and I know how busy
he is.
So
somebody wanted to book him recently, and by the time I told the guy, I said, but he's always booked 2 years ahead. And really, when I reached, I said, there's no space in his calendar, and yet he's that effective. All right, so We are expecting Dr. Olumide Manuel on this podcast, and you also have an assignment or a question to answer. How do you manage relationships? This is where we come to the end of this particular 10X interaction, which is our first episode.
Wow.
And we enjoyed having Dr. Sunday Olorunsheyi, who is my business partner, brother, and friend.
I'm so honored.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it's going to be awesome. The next podcast session, look out for it. Thank you very much for being part of this episode. We really appreciate you, our audience. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for other people to get to hear this, because we've had great conversation and we can't wait to get back at you at our next episode. Thank you very much. God bless you.